Most founders celebrate when a term sheet lands in their inbox. But that piece of paper might be the most expensive document you ever misread. We're going to talk about why accepting a term sheet without running a full dilution and runway model is basically signing up to be financially blindfolded in a knife fight. The term sheet looks clean, even generous. Maybe it's a $5 million raise at a $20 million pre-money valuation, and you're already mentally redecorating the office. But buried in the liquidation preferences, option pool shuffles, and pro rata rights is a version of your future that you would never have agreed to if you'd actually done the math. Here's the thing nobody tells you at the champagne toast. Investors write term sheets every single week, and they have modeled every scenario 100 times over before the ink dries. You, on the other hand, are probably doing this for the second or third time in your life, and the clock is ticking. The dilution model is not just a spreadsheet exercise. It's the difference between owning 30% of your company at exit and owning 11% after 2 more rounds you didn't see coming. Option pool expansion alone, which is almost always required before the round closes, can quietly shave 5 to 10% off the founder's stack before a single new investor dollar even hits the bank. Think of it like buying a house, where the seller gets to define what square footage means after you've already signed the purchase agreement. The number sounds right, the handshake feels right, and then you move in and realize the garage and the closets weren't included in the math. Runway modeling is the other half of this equation, and founders chronically over-romanticize it. If your 18-month runway projection assumes you hit every hire on time, land every customer in Q2, and burn exactly what the model says, congratulations, you have built a fantasy, not a forecast. Historical data is sobering here. Studies consistently show that startups take roughly 50% longer to close their next round than founders originally expect. Meaning, your 18-month runway should probably be stress tested at 12. Sequoia literally published a memo in 2022, the one they called RIP Good Times, reminding founders that default alive is a strategy, not a fallback. And that burn multiple matters more than growth rate alone during tightening cycles. The psychological trap is that term sheets create urgency, and urgency is the enemy of modeling. Investors know this. The exploding offer, the "we need an answer by Friday," the fear of losing the deal, all serve to compress the time you have to think clearly and run the numbers honestly. We've seen this movie before in every cycle, from the dot-com era through the ZERP years of 2021, where founders accepted terms on vibes and momentum only to discover post-close that they'd agreed to a 2 times participating preferred with a full ratchet that effectively made their equity nearly worthless at anything, below a massive exit. The irony is that the very capital meant to help them scale became the structural reason scaling didn't pay off for them personally. The misconception worth destroying right now is that modeling is only for CFOs, or that it slows the deal down enough to kill it. A founder who comes back to an investor and says, "I've run the dilution table and have a few questions about the option pool and the next round assumptions," is not being difficult. They are being exactly the kind of operator any serious investor should want running their portfolio company. Practical lesson. Before you even finish reading the term sheet, open a cap table tool, Carta, Pulley, even a well-structured Google sheet, and model out 3 scenarios: the base case, a down round, and a bridge that extends your runway by 6 months. What you find in those 3 scenarios will tell you more about whether this deal serves you than any conversation with the lead partner ever will. The historical pattern is consistent and almost boring in its predictability. The founders who survive multiple rounds with meaningful equity intact are not the ones who are the best fundraisers. They're the ones who treated every term sheet like a legal contract embedded inside a financial model, because that's exactly what it is. Discipline in this moment, not excitement, not gratitude, not the fear of losing the check, is the only variable fully within your control. Position size matters here too, in the sense that how much you raise and at what terms shapes every decision you'll make for the next 2 to 4 years, and over-raising at punishing terms is just as dangerous as under-raising and running out of road. The right round is not the biggest round or the fastest round. It's the one where you've modeled the future and can honestly say the structure keeps you competitive and keeps your team motivated. So at the end of this, the philosophical point is simple. A term sheet is not a finish line. It's a starting gun for a new set of constraints you'll live inside for years. Model the dilution, stress test the runway, ask the uncomfortable questions, and sign only what you actually understand, because clarity now is always cheaper than regret later. And if you're navigating any of this and want a team in your corner, whether it's real estate investing, contracting work, or connecting with the right lenders, check out our links in the description below.